though the fundamental thoughts of Buddha are in the three typical scriptures: the Flower Ornament Sutra, the Diamond Sutra, and the Lotus Sutra. Most of the thoughts, concepts, and content of Buddhist writings were made many years later. Furthermore, ideas from Hinduism were mixed in among them. There are many gods in Hinduism. From those gods came the concept of bodhisattva. Did Sakyamuni Buddha ever mention the bodhisattva? No, when you are enlightened, all beings become true nature. So who can save whom? It is the phenomenal world that true nature is manifested into. Buddha said after enlightenment, I am free from birth and death. This means that he was never born in reality. This born body-mind is not reality because I am the true nature. The body-mind is not reality, and so, who can save whom? Can a phantom save a phantom? Therefore Buddha said, life is a dream. This world is a dream. All are just a dream. Now people are living in a dream. How can they be saved? How can we save a person who is suffering in a paralyzing nightmare? The only way is to wake them up, shake them awake. If there is salvation, it will make them enlightened. It is, however, not enlightenment that they say is salvation in Buddhism and Christianity. It is said that if someone believes in Buddha, they can go to the Pure Land. If they believe in Jesus, they can go to heaven. However, a dream will end by itself even without the dreamer being awoken. A dream starts by itself and also ends by itself. There is, therefore, nothing that the enlightened can do with compassion. There is no person to be saved. How can compassion arise? Only when there is delusion that there are sentient beings to be saved will compassion arise. This is the terrible delusion. Compassion arises only from the minds of deluded people. Then, is true nature good or bad? There is no such thing in true nature. Where then are good and evil? They are just relative concepts manifesting from relative world into the relative beings. The true I cannot be affected by such good and evil as discrimination of the manifested world because of its true nature. So, are you able to live without the effects of them? If you are not confident in doing so, your consciousness should be overturned. The consciousness of identifying oneself with this or that has to be completely changed. Or it will be no use even though you always recite the mantras, I am true nature, or the body-mind is not mine. It is like children who try to memorize Chinese characters without knowing their meanings. You have to overturn that consciousness with all your energy. I am true nature that cannot be affected by anything. I am a character in a play that has mistakenly identified myself with a body-mind complex. Why should the character be responsible for his role in the play? Though he committed robbery and murder in the play, he does not regret them, feel guilt or suffering. But there are some characters who think of themselves as really doing so in spite of merely playing their roles. It is very foolish. You need to overturn your consciousness completely. If you can stay in true nature, that is a great freedom. There is no obstruction for you. All things happen naturally. Because of no self, all phenomena appear by themselves. With dependent origination, the whole is one. However, in the state of individual consciousness, a person comes to identify themselves with the thoughts and actions arising in themselves. That is ego. In my mind, a desire has arisen. Then it is ego that mistakenly thinks that I have caused that desire. An ego is not the attachment, but thinking of myself as having the attachment. Ego is not dualistic discrimination, but doing the dualistic discrimination. But nowadays, religious groups still say, get rid of your greed. Who will throw away greed? Saying that must mean I am greedy, therefore they are saying to me to throw it away. There is, however, no I that clings to being greedy. Being greedy itself is arising only because of dependent origination and the role written by the scenario. I am greedy only in the play, but not in truth. Though a shadow is greedy, is it not a shadow? Although a shadow clings to something, is it also not still a shadow? It is, however, very simple when viewing all things as a kind of play. But when thinking of myself as really doing something, suffering will follow. Because I have to be responsible for all. How can I not take responsibility for what I did? So I have to be responsible for all things. Because I mistakenly consider them as I did, even though I did nothing, due to no self. These are the worldly desires and sufferings of sentient beings. It is suffering for me to take responsibility for what I cannot be responsible for. Therefore, suffering does not exist in reality but only in the mind. The minute one awakens from that illusion, all suffering will disappear. You do not need to remove something or do something hard to be free from suffering. The moment you realize, this is illusion, all suffering will disappear. Haegong, disciple of the Zen master Dharma, told Dharma, "Master, my mind is suffering so much." Dharma answered, "Let me see your suffering mind, then I will get rid of the suffering." The moment he heard the answer, Haegong's suffering disappeared. It is, therefore, enlightenment to be awakened from that illusion in the mind. It is not to arrive at somewhere, not to cultivate something hard, and not to sit cross-legged without sleeping. It is not necessary to do these. Why does Buddha try to be another Buddha, even though he originally is Buddha? You only have to know that you yourself originally are Buddha. Why is it that people cannot accept such an easy thing? It is because of the old established habit of mistakenly thinking of themselves as independent individuals. Because identifying oneself with this body-mind since being born has remained too strong. The ego, imaginary but originally not existing, can appear anytime. The word I always follows whenever saying anything, thinking or acting. When removing that word, I, thinking, saying, and acting happen by themselves. Therefore, we have to throw away that word. It does not exist fundamentally. It is only the absolute true nature that can be said to be I. Humanity has never been as no true nature even for a split second. Has never existed as an ego even for a moment.